Welcome to Trinity 6 and welcome to Blackpool, possibly the most famous seaside town in the world. Famous for its tower, for its piers, for its circus, for its tramway, for 7 miles of golden beaches, and for 66 days from the end of August till November, the greatest free show on earth, the Blackpool Illuminations, or as we in Lancashire say, Luminations. I've come here this morning because this is where I spent a lot of my childhood, a lot of my formative years. We used to come here for our holidays, and then when we got a bit more affluent in the 60s, we came for day trips. It was wonderful, it was magnificent. We played on these sands, and we built sandcastles, and then we went into that sea. When I was at primary school in what we would now call Year 5, I had a teacher who went to the south of France for her holidays, and she used to tell us that in the south of France she had to run into the sea to cool down. All I could ever think of was running into the sea at Blackpool, and as the water came up just below your waist, you had a choice. You either dived in or shouted, "Ooh!" What a wonderful place it was. When I came here, there were elephants being exercised on the beach because there were elephants in the Tower Circus. There were donkeys. And of course, it was made famous by Stanley Holloway in many of his monologues, but not least when Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom brought young Albert, their son. There were no shipwrecks, no drownings, nothing to laugh at all. So they paid and went into the zoo. Well, can I tell you, that was artistic license. There was never a zoo here till 1970. It has great memories to me. And I think in life, the things we do in life, the things we experience in life are very important to us. Jesus teaches in parables. And this morning I want to reflect on how our whole life is at one level a parable. If we reflect on the things we've done, the places we've been, and the things we see. So we're now going to listen to this morning's Gospel from St. Matthew's Gospel. Last week we had the parable of the sower. Today we have the parable of the wheat and tares. And if you listen to that, I invite you to reflect on the parables that you may well have experienced in your life.
This is the parable of the weeds. Jesus told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while everyone was sleeping, his enemy came and sowed weeds among the wheat, and went away. When the wheat sprouted and formed ears, then the weeds also appeared. The owner's servants came to him and said, "Sir, didn't you sow good seed in your field? Where then did the seeds come from?" "An enemy did this," he replied. The servants asked him again, "Do you want us to go and pull them up?" "No," he answered, "because while you are pulling the weeds up, you may root up the wheat with them." Let them both grow together until the harvest. At that time I will tell the harvesters, first collect the wheat and tie them in bundles to be burned, then gather the wheat and bring it into the barn." He told them another parable. "The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, which a man took and planted in his field. Though it is the smallest of all your seeds, yet when it grows, it is the largest of garden plants and becomes a tree, so that the birds of the air come and perch in its branches." He told them still another parable. "The kingdom of heaven is like yeast that a woman took and mixed into a large amount of flour and worked all through the dough." Jesus spoke of all these things to the crowd in parables. He did not say anything to them without using a parable. So was fulfilled what was spoken through the prophet. "I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter things hidden since the creation of the world." Then he left the crowd and went into the house. His disciples came to him and said, "Explain to us a parable of the weeds in the field." He answered, "The man who sowed the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, and the good seed stands for the sons of the kingdom. As the weeds are pulled up and burned in the fire, so it will be the end of the age. The Son of Man will send out his angels, and they will weed out his kingdom, everything that causes sin, and all who do evil. They will throw them into the fiery furnace, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father. He who has ears, let them hear."
Well, as you can see, I've left the beach. I was being blown away. A mid-July day in the middle of English summer. Who would have believed it? Andrew, thank you very much for that reading, and we all wish you a speedy recovery. Some of you may know that Andrew unfortunately had a fall about a fortnight ago and has had to spend some time in hospital, but he's now home and on the road to recovery. The parable you read to us, it was about people sowing good seed in good soil. But at some point, somebody had sowed some bad seed and weeds were coming up. When the workers found this, they went to their master and said, "Shall we pull up the weeds?" To which he replies, "No. Wait until the wheat has grown and then pull it all up together and then destroy the weeds." I think sometimes we want things to happen instantaneously. We're impatient. When we do things in church or in our lives, we expect it to work there and then. And when it doesn't, we get frustrated. I'm old enough to remember more initiatives in the church than I know what to do with. All of them had good things about them. None of them, however, were the solution. But people expected and talked as though this was it. This was the way we would pack our churches. We'll only pack our churches. We'll only bring people to Christ in God's time, not ours. One of the things about being here on this beach is it reminds me that every day the tide comes in, it goes out, it comes in, and it goes out. Day in, day out. And as it does, it washes things up onto the beach, and it also takes things away. And it moves things. The sand on this beach at Blackpool is moving all the time. But you can't see it necessarily. Or very rarely do you see it. Because it takes time. But over the years, things move, things change. And that is how it is with God. When we came to Blackpool, one of the things was we got a treat. And quite often, I decided I'd like some rock. Blackpool rock. Now, I have to say, if I tried to eat this now, my teeth would suffer quite badly. But when I was younger, I loved Blackpool rock. And when you buy Blackpool rock, it says Blackpool rock on one end. And it says Blackpool rock, but upside down, if I can find the camera, on the other end. And in the middle, it says Blackpool rock, because it runs all the way through it. The other parable for me from coming to the seaside is that our faith has to run all the way through us. If you cut us at any point or in any way, then you'd find our Christian faith there, just as with the rock. Whichever way you cut it, it'll say Blackpool Rock. And that's how it has to be. It has to be for us. In everything we do, however we are, in every part of our body, in every part of our soul, we are disciples of Jesus Christ. And that is what we have to seek. That is what we have to aspire to. So it's not just on Sundays. It's not just when we're doing this or doing that. And it's not just anything. It's all the time. Disciples of Christ, running all the way through us. You will have parables in your own life, things that you've done, things that you've seen, just like the stories Jesus told. You can tell stories which will mean a lot to you. And I invite you to think about those parables. Think what it is that has made you what you are as a disciple of Christ. When you break bread today, think of those things. Think of the things, the stories of your life that have made you what you are. And thank God that He's walked with you throughout your life, every day. And ask God to give you the patience to let things happen in His time. It's been wonderful to come back to Blackpool. It's been wonderful to stand on that beach, even though I cannot imagine how I ever went running into the water. But I have so many memories. So much of my founding years were here, on these beaches. On Sunday, we will live stream our service. And at the end of this reflection, we'll put the details of how you can watch it. And I'm very hopeful that in a couple of weeks' time, you won't need to be on Facebook to be able to join our live stream services. But I need somebody far brighter than I am when it comes to computer technology to show me how we can do that. And they promised to do that in the first week in August. Whatever you do, stay safe and God bless.